it'll be the game of the year. Two club sides, as Ambrose alluded to. Crokes will be playing with that wind in the first half, Ambrose. Defending that, Mitchell's in. I see We're ready to rock and roll here in Ossenstag Park, and the ground has really held up. Big game last night as well.
It's just like loving your family. You love your sons or daughters or brothers, sisters, and I think I use this phrase a lot. Once a croak, always a croak. You don't need to look for money or look for recognition or anything. You're just glad to be part of the journey.
I know everyone who comes through the door here is cherished to be a member of Dr. Crokes and enjoys it and feels a sense of community. We have
Dr. Crokes GAA Club is the oldest in the Killarney area and one of the most successful clubs in Ireland. 14 Kerry Senior Football Championship titles, 9 Munster Championship titles, and 2 All-Ireland Senior Club Championship titles, to name just a few of their glowing accolades. But how have they reached such glorious heights? Hi, I'm David Moriarty, and in this radio documentary on my local GAA club, I will look to find out how the club has managed to withstand 138 years of history and maintain the Crokes Way, as they hunt for their first Kerry County Championship in 6 years. Former Dr. Crokes and Kerry star, now club chairman Owen Brosnan, and club historian Eamon Fitzgerald explain the origins of the club back in 1886.
They're known as 19 Dangerous Dreamers. I suppose we were still under British rule, really. It was still kind of almost like it was a clandestine organisation, was frowned upon, I suppose, by the rulers at the time. And there was 19 Dangerous Dreamers, as I said. Their names are actually up on a plaque on the way into the train station, Railway Road. On the left there was a building there. So a lot of, I think, were rail workers. There's a good few. There was a committee there, a lot of work for the Tom Looney and Fitzgerald. They contacted a lot of the ancestors and relatives of these 19 Dangerous Dreamers. And when the plaque was unveiled a couple of years ago, they were invited down. So they're still, as I said, they're still well remembered within the club, and they'll be remembered forevermore with their name on that plaque. I can see it there, just in the 1986 book, the Dr. Crokes Gaelic Centenary. It was on the motion of Mr. John Corcoran, seconded by Mr. James O'Leary. It was agreed that the name of the club was to be the Dr. Croke branch of the Gaelic Athletic Association, and the colours were to be orange and green, which is unusual, obviously. And the secretary was directed to inform Mr. Reardon of the fact. The club was called in after Archbishop Thomas Croke of Cashel, who was the patron of the GAA. I think that he was written down and asked, could his name, he was the patron, could his name be used? He, as I said there, it says here that he only granted that privilege on a number of occasions.
Crokes ran the Kerry team that time. And in the early years of the association, it was the county champions who actually won. And so when Kerry won their first All-Ireland, it was the Croke jerseys they wore. They didn't have green and gold.
The club has had many historic figures over its history, but none as big as Dick Fitzgerald. Owen and Eamon, along with club president Jackie Looney, give me an insight to Ireland's greatest Gael and let me in on some of the friends he met along the way, including quite a big figure in Irish history.
I suppose our most famous, Dick Fitzgerald, Ireland's greatest Gael. After which the Fitzgerald Stadium is called. He was a fantastic clubman. He died in his early years, really, but he'd obviously been fantastic for Kerry as well. And the club then, I think, undertook a project back in the 30s to honour his memory, and that's what they built the Fitzgerald Stadium in his honour.
He won a county championship with Crokes when he was 16. He went on after that to win 5 All-Irelands with Kerry. He was a great Republican as well. He spent some time in jail.
He struck up a great relationship there with Michael Collins, who was interned at the same time. He was a big follower of Michael Collins afterwards. And then at the end of the War of Independence and before the split came for the Civil War, Michael Collins came to Killarney to drum up support, and Dick Fitzgerald would have organised all that thing for him. Dick Fitzgerald was a man who organised safe houses for him when he was here in Kerry. It was said always Michael Collins was safer in Kerry than he was in Cork. The first book on coaching was by Dick Fitzgerald, published in 1914, How to Play Gaelic Football. It's in the museum in Croke Park, and it was an amazing publication. That was when the World War started. How he got it published, we don't know, but he was obviously a brilliant character.
In a club of any kind, it is about the people along the way who give you a lasting impression and make it what it is. Eamon gives tribute to one of those people, his friend Jackie Looney.
Why I played with the Crokes for so long. I was in Dublin in college and then teaching there as well, and the man I admired most all that was up along that was Jackie Looney here, and he kept contact with me by letter to come down for games, which I always did, and I appreciated the kind of help. And to have a man like Jackie still so interested in every game of the Crokes, whether it's juvenile or senior, he's anyway epitomised for me what Crokes are all about.
My grandfather was a member of the club, and that I joined the club then because of him. My brother before me was in the club as well. Okay, I played minor, and there was hardly any juvenile in my time, but played minor and senior with the club. And enjoyed every minute of it.
The club is only as good as its location, and the Crokes have moved around quite a bit over a long period of time. Owen goes through the changes the club has undergone over the years.
Well, I suppose the biggest change really is our home here in Luce Road. Like when I was started out, it was the small field Fitzgerald Stadium. Where we are here now inside Luce Road, this was a piece basically, like there was a pond and there was a young fella chasing tadpoles and whatnot inside here. Like so, then I remember training above. It's beside the psychiatric hospital there. It's their buildings now, HSC buildings. We were training there. Then we had a home. We'll just say in Deer Park across from the bypass. Access would have been an issue. We never really settled, and it wouldn't have developed as a club without the foresight of identifying here and I suppose acquiring the lands here from the Fitzgerald Stadium and then developing it. Talking to a few people who were involved at the time, like as in all you could see here was cliffs and ponds and rubble and whatnot, and you couldn't foresee that you'd fit 2 pitches inside here, like, you know. So that's the big change that we've had. We've developed our home.
Owen recalls his early years with the Crokes and what the club's main emphasis was for the younger generations coming through the ranks.
Yeah, well, I suppose as coming from a Crokes family, I had no choice really as a young fella. It was, I suppose, ingrained in me. I wasn't going playing with anybody else, would put it that way. Obviously, there were good times there, and a young fella you were crossing the small field of Fitzgerald Stadium. There would have been the likes of Jim Connolly, Jackie Looney would have been coaching at the time. Nolly Parker would have had me in an under 12, would say that, you know. So good guys, great clubmen. Going away, we would have gone away from the bus to play maybe the Rahaleys every year and sing songs in the bus and whatnot. So you're still a young fella, but they were coaching and getting us to enjoy the game really. The emphasis really on the academy would have been fun. We'll say that was Jackie and the lads really. Let's say obviously when you get this competitive football at the time was under 12, and I remember just under 14, Patrick O'Sullivan, now the chairman of the county board, was still a young man at the time. Basically took over our under 14 team, and really within a year or two we won an under 15 county championship, and then he brought us the whole way up minor to whatnot. Like, so Patrick would have been a huge influence on me at underage level. His dad Eddie then would have been a huge influence at senior level, like, so that you and then the likes of obviously playing with, and then being under the likes of Pat O'Shea and whatnot has been a privilege really, like, you know.
They need a score just to keep in touch with Crokes. Crokes look very dominant. They look very comfortable on the ball, and you just fear for Atmore that if they do get into their stride that they could stretch away to an easy lead.
2 steps from Tony and 3 steps bang, and that's gone over the bar.
Good
from
score.
Tony Brosnan.
It's a penalty to Crokes.
Tony Brosnan with this to put a bit of daylight between themselves and Ratmore. Tony Brosnan with a dummy, and then into the left hand corner. Do kick it out. It's blown out half at its full time here. Stage 117 for Dr. Crokes, 2-1 4-9 for Rathbone.
Shed into the Mitchells in now. It's Gavin White races past 1-2. The third player he'll take on. He's just a speed merchant. He'll be caught for speeding here. Losses back mark. Now offload. Great movement looking for Keaton. Keaton doesn't get it, but they do get the score in the end. That is in stuff as far as try and kill it here. Whistles Brian Looney. 40 metres out. Puts it over the bar.
Second point.
5-point lead. 14 points to 9, Amber.
You have to say this has been a very polished performance from the Crokes. They've been dominant in the second half.
Very close to the final whistle. Long ball into the edge of the square once again, and it's all over. Game over, and it's a win for the Dr. Crokes side. Amberson, a scoreline. Dr. Crokes 14 points, St. Brendan's 9.
For people in Kerry, when you think of legendary club managers, Pat O'Shea is right up there. Pat has overseen the Crokes on 3 separate occasions and has won everything imaginable. He has even won an All-Ireland title as manager of the Kerry senior football team. Pat's son Gavin has played under his father on 2 separate occasions for the senior team and talks about whether being the manager's son gives him any extra pressure.
I don't know, maybe so at times. I genuinely haven't really put myself under that pressure. I haven't overthought it in that way. I don't really try and listen to the outside noise, like if people, have their own opinions and all that. Whenever we come in the gates, he's the manager, like he's not my father at that stage. I was going to say I get treated equally. I get treated worse than probably everyone else up here. So it was no favouritism or anything, but I don't think there's any additional pressure because you're just treated the same as everyone else, and I treat him the same as everyone else would treat him.
The O'Shea and O'Sullivan families are the royals in terms of the Dr. Crokes. Gavin talks about being a part of the family and the influence the club has had on them over the years.
Yeah, no, like football is definitely a big part of our lives, and like you mentioned, the O'Sheas with my father's kind of side and my mum's side, then the O'Sullivans. I suppose a lot of people have had very important roles within the club, and throughout my lifetime anyway. And so football, and particularly Crokes more so than nearly football itself, is a big topic of conversation, as you say. Family gatherings or whatever it might be. Crokes, it's probably the biggest part of all our lives outside of family life, and it is definitely a big talking point. Like I think, just thinking back, like I've had between chairman of the club and managers of the senior team and so on, like I'd say all the kind of male adult figures of my family have probably had them roles throughout. My grandfather was manager in 92 when they won the All-Ireland. My father was manager, and when we won the other All-Ireland in 17, Patrick has been, my uncle has been chairman of the county board and chairman of our club. Edmund was the same as manager, so it is really a massive part of our whole family, and it is a big talking point, definitely, the goings on of the club in particular.
From the early stages of the footballing calendar in 2024, it was becoming clear that the Crokes could be in the midst of a memorable year. Their biggest test came on the 27th of October when they took on Dingle in Austin Stack Park in Tralee for the Kerry County Championship, a title which had eluded them for the past 6 years. Gavin and Owen, along with Young Footballer of the Year Mikey Lynch and squad veteran Brian Looney, recall on what was one of the craziest finals in recent memory.
Yeah, no, I suppose the standout day was probably the county championship final, because it really is the be all and end all in Kerry. We'd won the club championship against Dingle as well a few weeks previous, but we knew then that was only kind of the secondary competition, and when they had beaten East Kerry and we knew it was us and Dingle in the final, all the chips were on the table at that stage. It was whoever wins, brings home everything, because the county championship trumps the club championship, and they would have went on to represent Kerry and Munster, and there was a lot riding on it.
Because our backs were to the wall, and obviously if you didn't win a county championship, now I know we were club champions at the time, but if Dingle went on and won the county championship, our year had pretty much come to an end, so I was there, things weren't going well.
Give it out, looking for Darragh O'Sullivan coming, and that is it. We're not going to have any more after 1 minute of it. 31 the button. Amber's a 2-point lead for Dingle at half time, 6 points to Dingle. Dr. Crokes 4 points. What are your thoughts?
Dr. Crokes, a lot more to discuss with the management about at half time than Dingle.
Maybe there was a bit of luck on our side, but I don't think so. We kind of got on top, and we got on top of their kick-outs.
They can't score, and you probably need
goals to win this game. Crokes score goals to win it, if not to win it.
And then there was a 6-minute period to get 3 goals was just, that was fantastic.
Ultra goals winning games, like it was just, just can't write it.
He's trying to get out, that ball has gone loose. If it's get loose, it could be a goal for Crokes. And that's a goal. It's a David Shaw. David Shaw. They couldn't get it out of defence, and suddenly it's level here in Ossenstack Park. Defence, can they score here? A chance here for Douglas. That ball falls short. They'll have to deal with it. Danger. It could be another goal. Whoa. And it's over. They're going to clear it out. And it's, I think it's Kieran O'Leary.
It's Kieran O'Leary.
It's Kieran O'Leary has put it into the back of the 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes by the Dr. Crokes side. Gone forward is Evan Looney. He's been torn on their side. Still Looney on the edge of the square. A chance of a goal.
Goal number 3
from Evan Looney. Woo. Now they're opening up the game, and now they have a 5-point lead, Ambrose. 3 goals and 4 points now for Dr. Crokes. Dingle 8 points. Dr. Crokes management celebrating on the sideline, and there we have it, the full-time whistle. Dr. Crokes are the 2024 County Senior Football Champions. They did it by way of goals in the second half. They'll take home the Bishop Mining Cup here from Ossenstack Park on a scoreline. Dr. Crokes 3 goals and 8 to Dingle's 11 points.
I think it was huge for the club in terms of just the wider impact it had on the people in the club and the buzz around the club. And even there in my estate now, we have a couple of young fellas who are coming up to 6 and 7 who are getting involved in the underage now. It's just to see the buzz and excitement it gave to them was just fantastic.
A real standout moment, or moments from the year, was the performances put on display by said senior squad veteran Brian Looney. Although he is modest, the highly rated displays this year earned him Player of the County Championship at the age of 38. Brian talks about the award, his longevity, and his fondest memory in the black and amber.
Yeah, I suppose, look, it's a team sport and we're not really in it for individual awards, but when the dust settled after the county final and kind of got wind that had been done, it's obviously a nice thing to hear, not something that drives me. The personal accolades, they're kind of bonuses when they come. I put a lot of it down to a bit of luck, and I think, over the years pushing myself and training as hard as I can in the early years is standing to me now, because I think I've maintained a good level of fitness from that perspective. I suppose the other piece is just the love of playing it, and you have to have a bit of hunger and have to have a bit of want to actually go out there and put yourself through the tough sessions and the tough games later in your career. And I've been fortunate enough to represent this club for a long time now, and the best moment I've had with the Dr. Crokes was the 2017 All-Ireland final, and not just for the main reason obviously, or not just for the obvious reason being we won an All-Ireland club title. But I think the resounding memory that I'll have obviously is on the day in question. Obviously Amy O'Connor, who's sadly no longer with us, was a big part of that journey with us, and her family were as well. And obviously seeing her on the steps of the Hogan with Johnny Buckley lifting the Andy Merrigan Cup was a memory etched in my head that I'll never forget. Again, it was more than just winning in All-Ireland. It was more than just the whole club piece. It was what I suppose GA is all about, really, and what this club is all about. So a memory that will live with me to my grave, probably.
Dr. Crokes are All-Ireland Senior Club Champions.
It was a breakout year for young Mikey Lynch, who has become an integral part of the senior team. Mikey talks about his travels to and from college in Limerick to training in Killarney and playing with some legends of Kerry club football.
I just kind of took it as it came. I didn't really have much high hopes, but I was sure, look, I'll get stuck in and see where I get. To be fair, no, I love coming down for training. I'd be looking forward to it, and even to be something to be at. But I can see a couple of fellas are coming down. They mightn't be playing or the whole time, and I'd say they just enjoy it. We'd probably leave around 4:30 or 5 o'clock and we'd be down then for 7ish, and we'd have to go down train. We'd come back in then and they'd have the dinner now ready for us, so we wouldn't have to worry about food or anything, and then straight back up into the car and up the road then. It's kind of mind-blowing, really. You look around the dressing room, you see them players, they've played with Kerry, they've won Club All-Irelands, they've won I don't know how many county championships they've won between them. So it's kind of reassuring in a way. You have, that you're going to be playing with them boys when you go out on the pitch, and they're just unbelievable players, and they've been great servants to the club.
That signals the end of part 1 of the Crokes Way. Come back to part 2 where we learn about the tough end to this year's run for the senior team, times where the Crokes could have ceased to exist, and the bond the people in the club have, which creates a community spirit so unbeatable, no one would even try to go up against it. Welcome back to part 2 of the Crokes Way. As previously mentioned, it was a historic year for the senior team, and as they progressed through Kerry, many tried, but when push came to shove, very few could deal with the Crokes.
Now, because what an intensive game we have, and there we have the full-time whistle. Dr. Crokes march into the Munster Senior Club semi-final after a brilliant victory here on their home ground, Ambrose. Dr. Crokes 1-15 to Castlehaven of Cork, 1 goal and 8. Dr. Crokes 9 points, Rackgarmack of Waterford 8. Crokes go into a Munster final, but in the end it's Crokes to win out on a scoreline, Liam. Dr. Crokes 15 points, 1-6 for Lockmore Castellani.
Unfortunately, they couldn't get over the final hurdle to Jones's Road when they faced Ergal Kieran of Tyrone in the All-Ireland semi-final. Although it was a tough way to end the year, the run will be looked back on with great fondness.
And they do, that could be the winner of it. Crokes had their chances, but they did Kerry proud though as well this afternoon, Dr. Crokes. They were in at half time, Ergal Kieran a point ahead. At full time it was 1-13 for Ergal Kieran, 16 points for Dr. Crokes. Half time and extra time it was level pegging once more. It was Ergal Kieran 1-15, Dr. Crokes 18 points, but the end result, Ergal Kieran 2 goals and 18 points to Dr. Crokes 1 goal and 18.
Yeah, it was tough this year, obviously, like to lose in the manner, extra time, kind of you given everything, like both teams had given everything, you were spent by the end of it. There are regrets in a way that we didn't get over the line, but also, you know, you can take some pride in the fact that, you know, you left it all out there and you were part of, you know, a classic really in what it was. Once the dust settled after the tough defeat to Ergal, you could kind of reflect on what was a good year. There was fierce pride taken in the year we had, like.
I suppose it was probably the greatest year of all time, really, doing the 4 competitions that were there.
And they're the best days, like it really shortened the winter. Now, I was talking to a few people, obviously if you go to Kerry games, we all support Kerry down here, but you go to Croke Park, or you go to Thurles, or you go to Cork, and you might know a lot of people inside the stand, or a lot of people inside, and we'll just say the bars beforehand where you're meeting people. But on these journeys from Dungarvan to Mallow to Newbridge, everyone knew everyone. I was just having great fun. Like it was like there was no strangers there. Like, and they were the best times. Like they're the best days. Every club member couldn't but be proud. Like, you know, that, as I said, the trips there to Mallow, to Dungarvan, the day against Castlehaven here inside in our own field when we over 5,000 people inside in the grounds, like probably the biggest ever crowd. Like they were just days proud to be a Croke person.
Kayleigh Cronin is a Dr. Crokes senior ladies player and was a key part of the Kerry ladies' first All-Ireland win in over 30 years in 2024. Kayleigh talks about the battles for women in Gaelic football and her new adventure this year in Australia, which will see her play Australian rules football with the Adelaide Crows.
Yeah, look, it can be tough at times, I suppose. There's been huge strides made in recent years. Some of my early years with Kerry, we really struggled with funding and support, and, you know, even getting access to basic things was very tough. Even in the last 5 or 6 years, it has come on hugely, but like there is still quite a bit to go. Crokes have been absolutely super, to be honest, the last couple of years, not only for me personally, but all the other girls in the club. They made a huge effort in recent years, to be fair, to make sure that we're getting equal opportunities as the boys. And obviously, you know, we really appreciate it. To be honest, it just makes us feel like so much more involved in the club, and the relationship between the ladies side of the club and the men's is definitely stronger than ever. It was a long 32 years. Look, it was definitely worth it in the end. That's the only thing I suppose we came close in the 2 years previous, but just lacked the performance on the day when it mattered. We were lucky that we had a really special bond amongst the group and management, and we believe that if we stuck together we would get over the line eventually. That was a tough decision for a lot of people, as the 2 losses had taken a lot out of us. But as I said, the fact that we kind of stuck together as a group and didn't, I suppose, let the fear of failing again stop us, made it that bit more special. the support we got from the people of Kerry was something that we'll never forget. And it was so special then to be able to bring the cup home to them to celebrate. Definitely is a day we'll never forget. You know, you'll never win it for the first time again. The goal now, I suppose, is to make sure that the development within the county remains strong. And I suppose that we continue to challenge the top for years to come. And hopefully there'll be a lot more Celtic crosses that'll be heading home to Kerry soon enough. Look, it was a very tough decision, to be honest, and it's something that I mulled over for quite some time. The best days of my life have been with Crokes and Kerry, so to step away was probably the biggest factor in me deciding whether to move to Australia or not. I've made friendships for life, you know, within both groups, and I'll definitely be supporting them from afar. Look, I suppose the goal as well is to return to both someday fitter and stronger than ever, and look to be able to bring some wisdom home with me and help elevate both groups to a higher level again, if possible.
As with everything in life, nothing is straightforward. Owen, Eamon and Brian recall times of the club being in a spot of bother, secret meetings, and being told no by those above in high ranks of Kerry County football.
Yeah, again, it's probably before my time, but I know that our previous president, John Moynihan, after our stand here is called, John was, people often said to me like that in the 50s, Crokes was really struggling, and that John was basically, would often sponsor boots and whatnot and basically gather. We weren't going well at the time, and he kept the club going, and thankfully turned the corner, and the hard work paid off, and we went from strength to strength.
And also, even to go back further, at that time it was really a kind of a secret society as such, because the GA was the Nationalist Irish Party. Men got together and in a meeting up in beyond College Street, and they had to meet in darkness because they had been raided by the RIC. And they gave a great reception. For example, O'Donovan Rossa, a big character in Irish history, like his Paul Pierce oration in 1915 at his graveside started off the whole 1916 thing. He came and he addressed the town council of Killarney, which was run by the Crokes basically. And he came along and he gave a big speech, and they supported him all the way.
But it wasn't always plain sailing, and even you think back to as recently as the 80s when the Crokes were an intermediate club and won the intermediate and wanted to go senior but weren't allowed to go senior, and basically had to beat the door down and prove themselves again the following year before ultimately going on to winning a senior title within a couple of years. And it was the people of the club who, you know, believed in the club to get it to that level. Those kind of people are hugely important to the club, and we see them involved in the club very much so at the moment as well, and that's behind the scenes, keeping the standards of the club at a certain level and moving with the times at a certain level, so that on the pitch you can start to see that success, and you can bring it back to those success levels again.
Being as successful as they have been over such a long period of time, there are many factors which contribute to this. But when you create a formidable culture within the club, it's half the battle.
It's the culture inside her. The standards are high on the pitch, the standards are high in the organisation, the standards are high in the presentation of the place, and we strive to keep the standards high.
Again, it comes back to the people that have been involved in driving this, and the tradition of the club then as well, I suppose, plays a big part of that, like, you know. Again, it's something we've grown to appreciate the more we play, those who come before us and what it is we're representing when we're playing for our club, and I think that gives you that extra lift again that you need to bring you to a certain standard, that gives you those successes. So maybe that kind of history and the tradition of the Crokes and the Crokes Way.
Tradition, I suppose, is a massive thing in sport, like in all sports. You're probably winning county championships before clubs are even formed in some parts of town anyway. I suppose there's a knock-on effect then maybe as well, but if you can create that culture, that winning mentality, and that culture where you have everyone singing off the same hymn sheet, like, it makes life so much easier.
Behind every great club is a great community. People doing selfless work for the love of the club. A club which becomes family in many respects.
The people, really. What I mean by the people, that's the members, that's the volunteers, it's the players, it's the parents, it's the families, you know, it's everyone who's involved in the club. And that's probably those who've gone before us, it's those who are here now, and just importantly those who are going to be powering the Crokes in years to come, are all these volunteers that support and drive the club. But ultimately it's whether you're involved in the committee, involved in the team, or just involved in the club and helping out in some way, it's the people who ultimately drive this.
There's so much work that goes into it, and unselfish work that people don't see. You know, people kind of see us as maybe a little bit of a big club. I really don't see that at all. It's very much a family club and everyone knows everyone.
I suppose the big word I would use is family. And there's no doubt about it that for many people, the club is the extended family for them.
We have people here that were cooking for us there, and for after training, we come down from college and stuff, and they'd be making meals for us, and they might have any involvement in the team, they might have no one playing, and they'd be up here every Tuesday night making dinner for us. Just keeps the club ticking, like.
The fact, I suppose, that all the people within the club are volunteers, like, and they just give their time so willingly, it just makes it so special.
The Dr. Crokes run many events and evenings for the local community to feel a sense of belonging, where friends of all ages can meet up and enjoy each other's company. For people throughout Ireland, the local GAA club really is like a safe space.
We've got Father Paddy's cards obviously on a Wednesday evening, which keeps the people coming from all the hinterlands, Far East, Fossa, Crokes people, Legion people, Glenfest people, and they come in here and you could have 70 or 80 people having your cup of tea, having a bit of fun, biscuit, whatnot, and it breaks up their week on a Wednesday night.
I've asked the non-Croke people why they come, and they said because it's a fantastic night out.
That night out for that person could be the one night that they're looking forward to getting out of their house and on a given evening.
And I feel the people that come here, they totally enjoy it. They're looking forward to every Wednesday night, and they're not all Crokes people, you know, they're from all over East Kerry. Some of those people, they mightn't see a person from one end of the week to the other.
You see Kathleen Fitzgerald there running, she'd have movement classes for people who are of a certain age. That's just two examples of what this club is doing to try and involve the local community. Being that bit older and being around for a while, you grow to appreciate things like your GAA club a bit more.
They've also started even things like a Mothers and Others Club in recent years, and that's absolutely taken off. They've got huge numbers at the minute, and then those members are always first hand whenever any volunteers are needed in the club. So it's really cool to see the club grow from within with new numbers from things like that.
We had a very, very bad storm recently, and even there was the GAA clubs were the hub of the community, and they were set up as basically community centres, really to help people without power and water and whatnot, and they were feeding people, and it's throughout the country, so it's a fantastic organisation.
Unlike Premier League soccer and other sports like basketball and American football, local GAA clubs run entirely on a voluntary basis. So what gives people the desire to be so passionate about an amateur sport?
It's kind of one of these things that it's hard to explain, because people would probably think you're a bit foolish to put in so much effort and to sacrifice so much from your life to, put your body through so much and to get no gain, or, obviously there's no financial gain in GAA. That it's just ingrained in you, it's passed down, you're probably born with it, and people are just so proud of their club and their homeland, their parish, whatever it might be, that the GAA is always the thing that's maybe pulling you back. And a lot of people are emigrating, for example, at the moment. I'm sure there could have been a lot more emigrating, without the GAA and without the pull from your club.
I say it's just for the love of the game. I don't see any other reason people do it. I think they just enjoy watching it and playing it and supporting people that are doing it.
It's an amateur sport. It's just about winning a trophy, being the pride of the county, being the best team in the county, and having that unbelievable pride that comes with that and what you're doing for the club. You've best friends for life. You've people that in life in 10 or 15 years time, if you need something or whatever it is, you have a phone book full of contacts of people that you've played with or acquainted with over the years that you can pick up, and you'll always have somebody there for you.
From the dreamers who started it all to the people who strive to maintain the standards in every aspect of the club, it is fair to say the Dr. Crokes are one of the biggest GAA clubs in the country for one reason and one reason only. Over 138 years, they have kept the same philosophy: to play the Crokes way.
For me anyway, and of course I love the matches, and whether it's an under 12 match or a senior match, I love all those. So it gives you opportunities for like, you'll never be bored if you follow the Crokes.
It's probably a very close second, and a very, very, very close second to people's families. It's a place I can remember being here. Probably my first memories are up here, and you know, I'll probably be up here till the day I die.
Obviously, it means a lot because I'm taking on the chair, we'll say, like, you know, so it's time consuming, but it's I had great times out of it. Obviously, it means a huge amount. If I wasn't enjoying it, I wouldn't be doing it, put it that way.
It has given me some of the best days of my life and some of the best memories that I will ever have, including in the last 12 months when, you know, I had my 2 young girls of my own, and this was the first year, or they were at the club final, the county final and the Munster final, so it was the first time they've seen their dad winning any trophies from a football perspective, and the club gave me that. So as I said, I'm eternally grateful and proud to be a Crokes man.
It means the world to me, really. Like, you know, you come up here for training all my life, coming up here. Just something to keep me going.
Yeah, Crokes means everything. I feel like as I've gotten that bit older, I feel like the growth for the club is growing, and as the people within it as well. Michael Meyer once said that he had a marvellous run, but wasn't he lucky he was born in Kerry? Well, I'm even luckier again because I get to call Dr. Crokes my home.
Well, first of all, I was glad it was Dr. Crokes I joined, and I was lucky enough to serve nearly all the officerships in the Crokes. I enjoyed it, and the Crokes have been very good to me as well, you know, over the years.
I would like to thank Gavin and Leo O'Shea and everyone in the Dr. Crokes for their help throughout the making of this radio documentary. I would also like to thank Joe Mahoney in Radio Kerry Sport for giving me access to the station's commentary. I would finally like to thank Robert Cochran in the Cork School of Music for helping create the beautiful music in this documentary.